Please rise if you are able to the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Stina,
Yes,
you
sir.
have the roll. Thank you. And we'll move on to two. First item on our public hearing for the public hearing tonight is the amended spending plan for the.
So Todd Hagan from Mellors was supposed to be on. He's having difficulty, so I will read it. So I'm gonna grab my water because that will be a lot of reading then.
Then you're going to need. Yep.
So the first item under the public hearing agenda is for an amended spending plan for our TIF districts. I will read that in its entirety. Purpose: the city of Blackduck, Minnesota administers the tax increment financing districts listed above in the city and approved a spending plan on November 7th, 2022 for the TIF districts in accordance with Minnesota statute section 469.176 subdivision 4M. The city staff and consultants have prepared the following information to expedite the amended spending plan. Generally, the substantial changes to the spending plan include extension of the date when transferred tax increment must be irrevocably committed by and authorized to use interest earned on transferred tax increment as enacted by passage of Minnesota Session Laws 2025, First Special Session, Chapter 13, and Article 5, Section 1. The purpose of the amended spending plan is to develop or redevelop sites, lands, or areas within the city in conformity with the city's comprehensive plan or other city plans or objectives by using available tax increments from the TIF districts to provide improvements, loans, interest, rate subsidies, or assistance in any form to private development consisting of the construction or substantial rehabilitation of buildings and ancillary facilities which will create or retain jobs in the state, including construction jobs. The city has begun addressing properties that are vacant and left to deteriorate or are unsafe for residents. Studies show that blight properties have a significant financial cost to the city. They affect neighboring properties by reducing their values and contributes to community instability. They may reduce the incentive for neighbors to maintain their own and may lead to criminal activity. The goals of the city are to identify blighted properties, have unsafe structures repaired, renovated, or demolished by the property owner as a first resort, and then by the city at the owner's cost as a last resort to have the parcels redeveloped. Plan. The city is authorized as follows to use available tax increments, including the use of interest earned on tax increment from the TIF districts to provide improvements, loans, interest rate subsidies, or assistance in any form to private development consisting of the construction or substantial rehabilitation of buildings and ancillary properties in financing assistance to further the goals of the city's comprehensive plan and other city plans or objectives. If doing so will create or retain jobs in the state, including construction jobs. The city has identified an estimated total of $144,576 of unobligated tax increments that are anticipated to be available as of December 31st, 2022 within the TIF districts. Preference for financing assistance will be to spur the immediate construction, expansion, or rehabilitation of residential, commercial, industrial, or mixed-use buildings within the portion of the city to create and retain local jobs. The goal is to improve the city's residential, commercial, industrial building stock by constructing new structures or rehabilitating existing ones to attract and retain jobs, including small business, as well as to stimulate additional private investment in the city. The resulting new investment should result in a higher market value for underlying residential, commercial, or industrial property consistent with the city's comprehensive plan. The project should also have the potential to serve as a catalyst for additional investment. To amend the budget set forth in the tax increment financing plans for the TIF districts as necessary to provide for the assistance authorized by this amended spending plan. C, to take any other action necessary and authorized under the act in connection with the construction or substantial rehabilitation of facilities of the type described in the clause of objectives. The city will consider helping facilitate private construction projects to achieve one or more of the following objectives. A, stimulate the construction of new buildings or building expansions. B, renovate existing buildings to meet current building code standards and accessibility requirements, enhance building energy efficiency, and improve the health and safety of occupants to retain or attract business tenants in the city. C, assist local businesses expand and or improve their facilities for their own use or the benefit of retaining and attracting tenants. D, stabilize or increase the market value of the city's building stock to expand the municipal tax base. E, retain local jobs and or increase the number of quality jobs. F, stimulate development in the catalyst sites described in the city's comprehensive plan. G, to promote community stabilization and revitalization by the removal of blight and the upgrading in existing housing stock in residential areas. H, the project shall commence before December 31st, 2026, unless a later commencement date is authorized by law, and shall constitute projects that would not commence by such date without the assistance provided pursuant to this amended plan. The assistance provided pursuant to this plan shall be subject to the statutes listed if applicable and shall be subject to the city's business subsidy policy.
Good. Thank you, Christina. Any questions from the public?
He's on next.
Todd's on.
Let me let him in.
Casey wants to put it all in layman's terms for us.
Yeah. Hey Todd, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I'm gonna turn it up a little
Pretty
bit.
well, but
Great.
I read the spending plan in its entirety.
Oh, you read the whole thing?
I
Okay.
did.
Okay. Well, we've got the public hearing here right now still open
Yep.
or? Okay. Okay.
yes,
Yep. Yep. So thanks, Christina, for doing that. Yeah, my laptop, sorry about that. I kept touching my fingerprint and it kicked me out, so I couldn't get on. Sorry about that. So yeah, so the legislature, it talks about that in the spending plan too, that they're allowing us to extend the tax increment spending plan construction commencement deadline from December 31, 25, just right around the corner here, to 12/31/26. So they're giving us another year to spend that unobligated tax increment from the two tax increment districts, 1-4 and 1-6 for you folks. And you have not spent any of your unobligated monies out of those two TIF districts. And it's got $133,267 in it, and the spending plan allows up to $144,576. So they're given us another year. So we had to thought that was a good deal, right? So we had to publish a notice in the newspaper, just amend your plan a little bit. Basically, there's a couple new paragraphs up front. Last paragraph talks about the end date of December 31 of 26 instead of 25. And then, listen to any folks that have any comments on extending the life of that plan. And then there's a resolution for the council to consider approving. Then I gotta file it with the Office of the State Auditor and all that good stuff to make sure that gets filed. So yeah, we've got some good opportunities here. Christina sounds like she talked about the plan. Basically, it provides improvements, loans, interest rate subsidies, or assistance in any form to private development consisting of the construction or substantial rehabilitation of buildings and ancillary facilities, in financing assistance to further the goals of the city's comp plan and other city plans or objectives. If doing so will create and retain jobs in the state, including construction jobs. So we're pretty broad here. We know Blackduck's got some ideas for using this unobligated tax increment that's in the fund right now. If we don't use it, uh, it goes back to the county and gets redistributed to the city, the county, and the school district. So we're going to keep it in Blackduck and see if there's any use for it in the next year. So that's basically what it is. If you folks have any questions, I'm here for that. But it's we went through this already last year to create the plan, and now we're just extending it per the legislature.
Thanks, Todd.
Questions for,
Yeah.
does council have any questions for Ken? At this time? Any questions from the public?
Did it. It's on his side.
Yeah, it's on.
I've got everything franked, so not much more I can do at this point.
So what I understood was that there's some discretionary spending available from that?
Yeah, yeah. This has nothing to do with this, with the cannabis ordinance, so.
No, what would
Okay.
it? What would, since the county is, taking away funding for library, would some of that be able to go to the library?
No,
No,
no, it has to go to development that has direct result to where the TIF districts are located. So the yellow townhomes are there, so we could build up a street, or it has to affect the actual reason for the district itself.
Okay, thank you.
for future
Private.
reference here, as we move forward through this hearing and the next, if you want to speak to something or have something to ask, if you could please come to the podium and state whether you are from Blackduck or a resident of Blackduck or not, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
And your name for the record, that would be great.
Yes.
That way I get
That
it in
way
the
Christina
minutes.
it makes it much easier to keep track of the minutes and the notes. Is there any further questions? I'll ask a third time for any questions. Seeing none. Unless there's somebody behind me that should have spoke up,
Can we move forward?
we can move forward.
See, some more people came in.
Please.
Again, if you could sign in to the attendance, please, so we have it for record, that would be great. Thank you. So this will be the second and final reading of the proposed amended ordinance for chapter 11, business regulations of the city code, providing section 1170, regulating cannabis businesses.
We have mic on.
Oh. Let him in. You guys hear us okay?
Yes, thank you.
Yes,
Correct.
no, that was a mistake by the paper. The City Council of the City of Blackduck, Minnesota hereby ordains Section 1 Administration is amended as follows with deleted language struck out and new language in red. Subdivision 1 Findings and Purposes. The City Council of the City of Blackduck make the following legislative findings. The purpose of this ordinance is to implement the provisions of Minnesota Statutes Chapter 342, which authorizes the City of Blackduck to protect the public health, safety, welfare of the City of Blackduck residents by regulating cannabis businesses within the legal boundaries of the City of Blackduck. The City of Blackduck finds and concludes that the proposed provisions are appropriate and lawful land use regulations for the City of Blackduck. That the proposed amendments will promote the community's interest in reasonable stability and zoning for now and in the future, and that the proposed provisions are in the public's interest and for the public good. Subdivision 2, Authority and Jurisdiction. The City of Blackduck, Minnesota has the authority to adopt this ordinance pursuant to Minnesota Statute 342.13C regarding the authority of a local unit of government to adopt reasonable restrictions of the time, place, and manner of the operations of a cannabis business, provided that such restrictions do not prohibit the establishment or operation of a cannabis business. B, Minnesota Statute 342.22 regarding the local registration and enforcement requirements of state licenses, cannabis retail businesses, and lower potency hemp edible retail businesses. Minnesota Statute 152.0263 Subdivision 5 regulating the use of cannabis in public places. Minnesota Statute 462.354 regarding the authority of a local authority to adopt zoning ordinances. Ordinance shall be applicable to the legal boundaries of the City of Blackduck. The City of Blackduck has delegated cannabis retail registration authority to Beltrami County. Subdivision 3, Severability. If any section, clause, provision, or portion of this ordinance is adjusted unconstitutional or invalid by a court or competent jurisdiction, the remainder of this ordinance shall not be affected thereby. Subdivision 4, Enforcement. The Beltrami County Sheriff's Office, the Beltrami County Auditor Treasurer, Beltrami County Environmental Services, and the Beltrami County Attorney's Office are responsible for the administration and enforcement of this ordinance. Any violation of the provisions of this ordinance or failure to comply with any of the requirements constitutes a misdemeanor and is punishable as defined by law. Violations of this ordinance can occur regardless of whether or not a permit is required for a regulated activity listed in this ordinance. Subdivision 5, Definitions. Unless otherwise noted in this section, words and phrases contained in Minnesota Statute 342.01 and the rules promulgated pursuant to any of these acts shall have the same meanings in this ordinance. Cannabis cultivation. A cannabis business licensed to grow cannabis plants within the approved amount of space from seed or immature plant to mature plant. Harvest cannabis flower from mature plant. Package and label immature plants and seedlings and cannabis flower for sale to other cannabis businesses. Transport cannabis flower to a cannabis manufacturer located on the same premises and perform other actions approved by the office. Cannabis retail business. A retail location and the retail locations of a mezzo businesses with a retail operations endorsement, micro businesses with a retail operations endorsement, medical combination businesses operating a retail location and excluding lower potency hemp edible retailers. Cannabis retailer. Any person, partnership, firm, corporation, or association, foreign or domestic, selling cannabis product to a consumer and not for the purpose of resale in any form. Daycare, a location licensed with the Minnesota Department of Human Services to provide a care of a child in a residence outside the child's own home for gain or otherwise on a regular basis for any part of a 24-hour day. Lower potency hemp edible, as defined under Minnesota Statute 342.01 Subdivision 50. Office of Cannabis Management, Minnesota Office of Cannabis Management referred to as, quote, OCM in this ordinance. Place of public accommodation, a business, accommodation, refreshment, entertainment, recreation, or transportation facility of any kind, whether licensed or not, whose goods, services, facilities, privileges, advantages, or accommodations are extended, offered, sold, or otherwise made available to the public. Preliminary license approval, OCM pre-approval for a cannabis business license for applicants who qualify under Minnesota statute 34217. Public place, a public park or trail, public street or sidewalk, any enclosed indoor area used by the general public, including but not limited to restaurants, bars, any other food or liquor establishment, hospitals, nursing homes, auditoriums, arenas, gyms, meeting rooms, common areas of rental apartment buildings, and other places of public accommodation. Residential treatment facility, as defined under Minnesota statute 245.462 subdivision 23. Retail registration, an approved registration issued by Beltrami County to a state licensed cannabis retail business. School, a public school as defined under Minnesota statute 128.05, or a non-public school that must meet the reporting requirements under Minnesota statute 128.24. State license, an approved license issued by the state of Minnesota's Office of Cannabis Management to a cannabis retail business. Section 2, registration of cannabis businesses, has no amendments and reads as follows. Subdivision 1, consent to registering a cannabis business. No individual or entity may operate a state licensed cannabis retail business with the city of Blackduck without first registering with Beltrami County. Any state licensed cannabis retail business that sells to a customer or patient without valid retail registration shall incur a civil penalty of up to $2,000 for each violation. Notwithstanding the foregoing provisions, the state shall not issue a license to any cannabis business to operate in Indian country as defined in United States Code Title 18, Section 1151 of a Minnesota tribal government without the consent of the tribal government. Subdivision 2, compliance checks prior to retail registration. Prior to issuance of a cannabis retail business registration, Beltrami County shall conduct a preliminary compliance check to ensure compliance with local ordinances. Pursuant to Minnesota statute 342, within 30 days of receiving a copy of a state license application from OCM, the city of Blackduck shall certify on a form provided by OCM whether a proposed cannabis retail business complies with local zoning ordinances and, if applicable, whether the proposed business complies with the state fire code and building code. Subdivision 3, registration and application procedure. These, Beltrami County shall not charge an application fee. A registration fee, as established in Beltrami County's fee schedule, shall be charged to applicants depending on the type of retail business license applied for. An initial retail registration fee shall not exceed $500 or half the amount of an initial state license fee under Minnesota statute 342.11, whichever is less. The initial registration fee shall include the initial retail registration fee and the first annual renewal fee. Any renewal retail registration fee imposed by Beltrami County shall be charged at the time of the second renewal and each subsequent renewal thereafter. A renewal registration fee shall not exceed $1,000 or half the amount of a renewal state license fee under Minnesota statute 342.11, whichever is less. A medical combination business operating an adult use retail location may only be charged a single registration fee, not to exceed the lesser of a single retail registration fee defined under this section of the adult use retail business. Application submittal. Beltrami County shall issue a retail registration to a state licensed cannabis retail business that adheres to the requirements of Minnesota statute 342.22. An applicant for a retail registration shall fill out an application form as provided by Beltrami County. Said form shall include, but is not limited to, full name of the property owner and applicant, address, email address, and telephone number of the applicant, the address and parcel ID of the property which the retail registration is sought, certification that the applicant complies with the requirements of local ordinances established pursuant to Minnesota statute 342.13, any other information as requested by the Beltrami County Auditor Treasurer. The applicant shall include with the form the application fee as required in section 117002 subdivision 3.1. A copy of a valid state license or written notice of OCM license pre-approval. Any other information is requested by Beltrami County Auditor Treasurer. Once an application is considered complete, the Auditor Treasurer of Beltrami County shall inform the applicant as such, process application fees, and approve or deny the application. The application fee shall be non-refundable once processed. Application approval. A state licensed cannabis retail business application shall not be approved if the cannabis retail business would exceed the maximum number of registered cannabis retail businesses permitted under section 2.6. A state licensed cannabis retail business application shall not be approved or renewed if the applicant is unable to meet the requirements of this ordinance. A state licensed cannabis retail business application that meets the requirements of this ordinance shall be approved. Annual compliance checks. The Beltrami County Sheriff shall complete at minimum one compliance check per calendar year of every cannabis business to assess if the business meets age verification requirements as required under Minnesota Statute 342.22 subdivision 4B and Minnesota Statute 342.24 and this ordinance. The Beltrami County Sheriff shall conduct at minimum one unannounced age verification compliance check at least once per calendar year. Age verification compliance checks shall involve persons at least 17 years of age, but under the age of 21, who, with the prior written consent of a parent or guardian, if the person is under the age of 18, attempt to purchase adult use cannabis flower, adult use cannabis products, lower potency hemp edibles, or hemp derived consumer products under the direct supervision of a law enforcement officer. Any failures under this section must be reported to the Office of Cannabis Management. Location change. A state licensed cannabis retail business shall be required to submit a new application for registration under section 232 if it seeks to move to a new location still within legal boundaries of Beltrami County. Renewal of registration. The Auditor Treasurer of Beltrami County shall renew an annual registration of a state licensed cannabis retail business at the same time OCM renews the cannabis retail business's license. A state licensed cannabis retail business shall apply to renew registration on a form established by Beltrami County. A cannabis retail registration issued under this ordinance shall not be transferred. Renewal fees. Beltrami County may charge a renewal fee for the registration starting at the second renewal as established in Beltrami County's fee schedule. Renewal application. The application for renewal of a retail registration shall include those items required under section 232 of this ordinance. Suspension of registration. When suspension is warranted, Beltrami County may suspend a cannabis retail business's registration if it violates the ordinance of the Beltrami County or poses an immediate threat to the health or safety of the public. The Auditor Treasurer of Beltrami County shall immediately notify the cannabis retail business in writing the grounds for the suspension. Notification to OCM. The Auditor Treasurer of Beltrami County shall immediately notify OCM in writing the grounds for the suspension. OCM will provide Beltrami County and cannabis business retailer a response to the complaint within 7 calendar days and perform any necessary inspections within 30 days. Length of suspension. The suspension of a cannabis retail business registration may be for up to 30 calendar days unless OCM suspends the license for a longer period. The business may not make sales to customers if the registration is suspended. Beltrami County may reinstate a registration if it determines that the violations have been resolved. Civil penalties, subject to Minnesota Statute 342.22 subdivision 5E. Beltrami County may impose a civil penalty as specified in the Beltrami County fee schedule for registrations violations not to exceed $2,000. Limiting of registrations. Beltrami County shall limit the number of cannabis retail businesses to no fewer than 1 registration for every 12,500 residents within Beltrami County. If Beltrami County has 1 active cannabis retail business registration for every 12,500 residents, Beltrami County and any city which has delegated registration authority to Beltrami County shall not register additional state licensed cannabis retail businesses. Requirements for cannabis businesses is amended as follows with deleted language struck out and new language in red. Minimum buffer requirements. The following minimum buffer requirements shall be met for cannabis retail businesses. For cannabis retail businesses, applications in the city of Blackduck that delegates authority to Beltrami County, the minimum buffer requirements may be reduced with a vote of support at a city council meeting of the city of Blackduck, citing the specific business application and acceptable buffer distance. The city of Blackduck shall prohibit the operation of a cannabis retail business within 200 feet of a school, as measured by the shortest line between the property line of the space to be occupied by the proposed cannabis business to the nearest property line of the school. For all other cannabis business types, the buffer is reduced to 0 feet. The city of Blackduck shall prohibit the operation of a cannabis retail business within 500 feet of a daycare, as measured by the shortest line between the property line of the space to be occupied by the proposed cannabis business to the nearest property line of the daycare. For all other cannabis business types, the buffer is reduced to 0 feet. The city of Blackduck shall prohibit the operation of a cannabis business within 500 feet of a residential treatment facility, as measured by the shortest line between the property line of the space to be occupied by the cannabis business to the nearest property line of the residential treatment facility. The city of Blackduck shall prohibit the operation of a cannabis retail business within 500 feet of an attraction within a public park that is regularly used by minors, including a playground or athletic field, as measured by the shortest line between the property line of the space to be occupied by the proposed cannabis business to the nearest property line of the park. For all other cannabis business types, the buffer is reduced to 0 feet. The city of Blackduck shall prohibit the operation of a cannabis retail business within 500 feet of another cannabis retail business. Pursuant to Minnesota statute 462367, subdivision 14, nothing in section 3.1 shall prohibit an active cannabis business or a cannabis business seeking registration from continuing operation of the same site if a school, daycare, residential treatment facility, or an attraction within the public park that is regularly used by minors moves within the minimum buffer zone. Zoning and land use. Cultivation. Cannabis businesses licensed or endorsed for cultivation is permitted use only in the following zoning districts: I-1, industrial zone, A-1, agricultural zone. Cannabis manufacturer. Cannabis businesses licensed or endorsed for cannabis manufacture is permitted use only in the following zoning districts: industrial zone. Hemp manufacturer. Businesses licensed or endorsed for low potency hemp edible manufacturers permitted use in the following zoning districts: industrial zone, highway business zone, general business zone. Wholesale. Cannabis businesses licensed or endorsed for wholesale is a permitted use only in the following zoning districts: industrial zone, highway business zone, general business zone. Cannabis retail. Cannabis businesses licensed or endorsed for cannabis retail is a permitted use in the following zoning districts: central business zone, highway business zone, and general business zone. Hours of operation. Cannabis businesses are limited to retail sale of cannabis, cannabis flower, cannabis products, lower potency hemp edibles, or hemp-derived consumer products between the hours of 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. Advertising. Cannabis businesses are permitted to erect up to 2 fixed signs on the exterior of the building or property of the business unless otherwise limited by the city of Blackduck sign ordinance. Temporary cannabis events has no amendments and reads as follows: license or permit required for temporary cannabis business. License required. A license or permit is required to be issued and approved by Beltrami County prior to holding a temporary cannabis event. Registration and application period. A registration fee as establishing in the Beltrami County's fee schedule shall be charged to the applicants for temporary cannabis events. Application submittal and review. The Beltrami County Auditor Treasurer shall require an application for temporary cannabis events. An applicant for a retail registration shall fill out an application form as provided by Beltrami County. Said form shall include, but is not limited to, full name and property owner of applicant, address, email address, and telephone number of the applicant, and any other information required by Beltrami County Auditor Treasurer's Office. The applicant shall include with the form, the application fee is required in section 412, a copy of the OCM cannabis event license application submitted pursuant to 34239 subdivision 2. The application shall be submitted to Beltrami County Auditor Treasurer for review. If the designee determines that a submitted application is incomplete, they shall return the application to the applicant with the notice of deficiencies. Once an application is considered complete, the Beltrami County Auditor Treasurer shall inform the applicant as such, process the application fees, and approve or deny the application. The application fees shall be non-refundable once processed. The application for a license for a temporary cannabis then shall meet the following standards: the buffer requirements as described in section 3.1, compliance with the Beltrami County Beltrami County Public Gathering Ordinance, sanitation plan included. A request for a temporary cannabis event that meets the requirements of this section shall be approved. A request for a temporary cannabis event that does not meet the requirements of the section shall be denied. Beltrami County shall notify the applicant of the standards not met and basis for denial. Temporary cannabis events shall only be held between the hours of 10 a.m. and 9 p.m. Use of public property. Beltrami County shall not register any temporary event which seeks to host a temporary cannabis event on any property owned or operated by the city of Blackduck. This prohibition includes any park or trail, public street, county highway, or any public sidewalk, or any building owned or operated by the city of Blackduck. On-site consumption. On-site consumption of cannabis during a temporary cannabis event, which occurs at a place of public accommodation, is permitted, provided the place of public accommodation allows such use. Lower potency hemp edibles has no amendments and reads as follows. Sale of low potency edibles. The sale of low potency edibles is permitted, subject to the condition within this section. Zoning districts. Low potency edibles businesses are permitted use in the following zoning districts: central business, highway business, general business. Additional standards. Sales within municipal liquor store. The sale of low potency edibles is permitted in a municipal liquor store. Age requirements. The sale of low potency edibles is permitted only in places that admits persons 21 years or older. Beverages. The sale of low potency hemp beverages is permitted in places that meet requirements of this section. Storage of product. Low potency edibles shall be sold behind a counter and stored in a locked case. City of Blackduck as a cannabis retailer has no amendments and reads as follows. The city of Blackduck may establish, own, and operate one municipal cannabis retail business subject to the restrictions in this chapter. The municipal cannabis retail store shall not be included in any limitation of the number of registered cannabis retail businesses under section 2.6. The city of Blackduck shall be subject to all same rental license requirements and procedures applicable to all other applicants. Use in public places has no amendments and reads as follows. No person shall use cannabis flower, cannabis products, low potency hemp edibles, or hemp derived consumer products in a public place or a place of public accommodation unless the premises is an establishment or an event licensed to permit on-site consumption of adult use.
Thank you, Christina. At this time, we will begin to take comments and questions. If you could please come up to the podium, state your name, and whether or not you're a resident of the city of Blackduck. That would be greatly appreciated to keep this an orderly conversation. Thank you. Yes, sir.
My name's Dan Shingler, and I've lived in this city, town, all my life. And I'm just thinking about all the stuff that's going on right now, and how can you guys do this? The city of Blackduck. how can you do this to all of our families? You can definitely find a better business to come into this place and have us be in the pot town of northern Minnesota. You're scraping the bottom of the barrel. Why? We don't need this.
We haven't actively searched out any business.
I would suggest you do that, please. Please,
With-
for the safety and the people of your town and the rural area, do something.
And I understand your concern. I do. I get it. The city does not own that building, that land.
True. But you have the say so of what goes on, being it's in the city block. You have some say so. And I'm just hoping that every one of you guys and ladies take this into consideration. And what if they don't find enough people to work there? Are they gonna bus in somebody else from someplace else?
No,
Are they gonna take over our town? Are they gonna take over your job? Take over our town, and then what do we have? You know, it's all done when that point comes here. And if we let it come, it's gonna change the whole community. So that's what I'm saying. Everybody just think it over real good before you say yes. That's all I got to say.
Bob,
Could I just ask the additional point of, everybody could try to speak in a level that could be heard by everybody in the room?
Absolutely.
Obviously, we don't have a microphone or a speaker
Yep.
system.
Good evening. My name is Bob Klug Jr. I'm a lifelong supporter of this community and its continued growth. Even though I'm not a resident of Blackduck proper, I do not live in city limits. I have been a resident of this community my entire life. A little bit about me, I started working part-time for the city in 1985 as a water wastewater operator on the weekends. Then in 2002, I was hired as the city's public works director. Position I held until 2019 when I went to work for a company called Minnesota Rural Water Association as an EPA water training specialist. I'm certified as a Minnesota Pollution Control Agency wastewater operator and a Minnesota Department of Health water operator. I'm here tonight as a private citizen, not an MRWA employee, and not out of opposition to progress or business, but out of concerns for how a proposed cannabis grow operation could impact the health, environment, and financial stability of the city of Blackduck and its residents. First, I want to talk about the potential impact on our wastewater lagoon system. Being built in 1988, Blackduck's wastewater lagoon has served this community well for decades, but it was never designed to handle large industrial loads rich in nutrients like phosphorus. Cannabis cultivation facilities use fertilizers and growth nutrients that often contain significant amounts of phosphorus, and when that wastewater enters the lagoon, it could quickly overwhelm a system. There's a system not too far from here that's having issues with this right now. Excess phosphorus is one of Minnesota's most common water quality problems. It feeds algae blooms, creates strong odors, and can deplete oxygen in the water, which is needed to help the treatment process in a lagoon. Once phosphorus builds up, it's very hard to remove, and restoring its balance can take years. If this operation increases phosphorus loads beyond what the lagoons can handle, the city could face not only state regulatory violations, costly upgrades, or fines from the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency. These costs wouldn't fall on the grower, they'd fall on the city and its taxpayers. This could mean higher sewer rates or special assessments for local residents to fix a problem that was not caused by them. I'm also concerned about the cumulative environmental impacts. Even if the grower operation seems small, the added phosphorus load combined with agricultural runoff and other nutrient sources to push our local watershed closer to impairment. Beyond environmental concerns, this proposal could affect quality of life in town. Overloaded lagoons can create odor issues, attract pests, and degrade nearby land and water. For residents who live near the treatment site or downstream, that's not just an inconvenience, it's a health and property value concern. To be clear, I'm not against new business or economic opportunity, but responsible growth means planning ahead for infrastructure capacity, environmental protection, and public health. If this project moves forward, I strongly urge the council to require strict wastewater pre-treatment, nutrient limits, and ongoing monitoring. These safeguards should be in place before any operation begins discharging to our system. Then I have some questions for you to ponder before you allow this in our community. Have they presented you with a detailed plan on their growing process? Have you been in contact with the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency on possible effects to future permits? As a city engineer, have you been in contact with them on possible effects to city infrastructure? Has the Public Works Department done their due diligence, researched any possible problems that could arise from a grow operation? Have they even been included in any talks? Has the Planning Commission looked at this? Or is the city only looking at the jobs that might be created? I know they say up to 150 jobs, but after doing my own research on this company, I think that is a stretch. Remember, just because someone promises you the moon doesn't mean they won't give you a falling star. In closing, I'm asking the council to carefully weigh the long-term costs and risks of this project. Our lagoon system is one of the most vital pieces of public infrastructure that we have. It protects our water, our health, and our environment. Let's not jeopardize that for short-term economic gain. The people of Blackduck deserve clean water, a safe environment, and responsible development. Thank you.
Well.
I'm Jeff Beachley, and I've lived here my whole life. Clear back to my grandfather who homesteaded in this area. We're outside the city limits, but this is our home. This is Blackduck is our town. Just right now, I got 25 signatures right here, all absolutely against this. I got these all over town, not in every business. Some businesses wouldn't allow it. But I got just as many signatures on a lot of them. I mean, you're looking at, I would say 100 plus, just like that. Maybe a whole lot more. I don't know. I haven't been back to them because I'm busy working, trying to make a living. But I just don't understand it. Just like some of these others that spoke here, I don't understand this. I don't know why you would even consider it. And I've always been proud of this town, proud of being part of it. Calling it my hometown. And I would hate to have to say I'm ashamed of it. And that's what it's coming to if you go with this.
Try to be quicker because there's a lot of people here. I don't know how many more people are gonna talk. My name's Ian. I'm from Blackduck. I live in town. I'm personally just not a fan of it. Try to be as respectful as possible. I could go and just say that I'm personally just not a fan of the aroma of marijuana. I don't like the fact that it's pretty close to a school environment. And I know our history recently, there's been a couple businesses that have been broken into for, petty theft or just vandalism. I feel like that would make this business a very prime target. And then something that a lot of people don't know about me is I used to be in law enforcement. From regular cop to I worked on a drug team, specifically on the drug highway. I marijuana is something it's very low on the totem pole for me when I was in law enforcement, but it was everywhere. And something I personally noticed was that wherever I was around marijuana, there was a higher amount of crime. And whether, like, if we do end up doing something like this, I would ask if there would be an increase in law enforcement presence in our city, because I have had my life threatened multiple times, almost been shot. I don't want to be in that position again, especially with my family here. And I probably would end up moving somewhere else, to be honest. I'm sure plenty of other people would too. My main reason for being here is because it was a small, quiet, nice experience. I like the people I've met so far. Although to be fair, I am meeting a lot of y'all for the first time. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents on the matter.
Thank you. Thank you.
Pat Beachley, and I do live outside the city limits, but I did bring up some of this the last time. Like Bob said, worrying about the lagoon, I did bring up the fact last time that this can get into the groundwater. You have farms close by. It's gonna affect them. I also brought up the possibility of more law enforcement in the area. That would mean Blackduck is gonna have to probably put on another law enforcement officer here, and that's going to raise, for sure, the city's taxes, if not even the outskirts, because we're still part of Blackduck, and that would probably come on our property taxes. I just don't see why you would want to do something like that, especially after hearing some of this tonight with the in-depth problems here that it could cause.
Thank you.
Name is Glenn Schuman. I've been in Blackduck now for about 7 years. And I moved up here from south of Rochester to get away from this stuff. I just found a place up here. I found a quiet town. I found a quiet neighborhood. And I was hoping it would stay that way. I think something like this will attract nothing but trouble. It's happened. It's happened in the bigger towns. I'm sure some of the smaller towns that have it have experienced it too. And we don't need it here. I came up here like this gentleman here because it's quiet. I like it here. I like the house where I'm at. I like the area I'm at. I don't think we need it.
Thank you, Glenn.
I'm Joel Pollock. I live in town. I can second kind of what some of these people are saying, that I have moved here. My wife and I bought a house here about 8 years ago, and we have stayed here with our 3 young children because we like that it is a small town with peaceful, low crime. And I actually have a roommate from college who struggled with drugs, and his family has started a business. I'm not going to use any of their names because I do not have their permission. I've not spoken to them about this, but they have a business similar to this in another state. And they have people that come to the business, work at the business, and then because of the value of the product, have attempted to steal small portions of it here and there and then sell it within the town. So even though I know some people have said, well, they're not going to sell it, or they may not sell it in town, they may have employees that try to steal small amounts and sell it in town. And about 50% of crime in the US, they say, is in some form related to drugs. I grew up in a house that had some forms of drug abuse, and you're kidding yourself if the crime is not going to significantly go up in Blackduck if you bring this here. I mean, you're blind. You're blind and foolish if you think it won't go up.
Further statements?
Bob Klug Senior, and I'm here to back up Junior. having worked for the city of Blackduck for 24 years as a maintenance supervisor, I fully know what he's talking about. It was a continuous thing to try to keep water and wastewater clean and to protect the citizens of Blackduck. I do not live in Blackduck. I'm half a mile out. But I can honestly say that I'm the oldest resident from around here. I was born right in Blackduck and lived within a half a mile of it my entire life. And I'm not against businesses and stuff, but I don't think this is a business we want in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Podium thing and.
It's a
Too many people here, Jenna.
And then,
We're all in the
so I
same.
guess I have a couple questions. Has there been any other interest?
Could you
in the
please
property?
state your name
I'm
and,
Jenna Freeman. I do not live in town.
thank you.
Has there been any other interest in the property?
Not to my knowledge.
And that's kind of how I feel. I see a lot of people here. I don't know that any of them are personally affected by the shade store closing, but I own a daycare and it is hard. We all have openings. We need families in the town. I think that even our apartment buildings are leased by other communities at this moment, like not, we need growth. And I've been to other states that allow marijuana to be grown and processed and sold. And they're not all terrible places. I think that you do get some of that, but I think that it would be good for our town.
Thank you.
I'm Joel. I actually have one more thought that I had from earlier. In the booklet or the pamphlet they hand out, it says that the business will bring in well-paying jobs. Now, I worked in Answer Fabric, so then was laid off and have now found another job. But every job I applied to said they were well-paying. McDonald's says they pay well. And so I've yet to see anything. They say they'll bring in a lot of jobs. I've yet to see anything how well those jobs will be paying. So even for the people that are for it, as a person with a family, are they gonna bring in jobs that could help people support a family if they wanted to move here? Or are they gonna bring in jobs that are minimum wage? That's something to consider, because I've yet to see, they have other plants, they say that. What do they pay their other plants? Has anyone asked that? What sort of, they say it's gonna bring in a lot of income. That may be true, but how much of it is actually gonna end up in the pockets of the people of Blackduck? Versus just in the pockets of a few people that own the company that don't live here. So just because you say they're gonna have a lot of sales and bring a lot of money, it doesn't mean it actually, very little of it may go to Blackduck. I would love to hear what they say they pay their employees. Just a thought to consider. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kathy Finney, and I do live in town. And I guess I'm with the woman that has the daycare. I think it's a good idea to have another business here, and as far as marijuana, it's legal. There are laws. We can carry guns, we can drink alcohol, we build a liquor store. And I think it's fairly safe. It's done in other places. And if I want marijuana, I just go to Red Lake or go to Brainerd, Moorhead, bring it here and smoke it or eat the gummy. If I needed, I had cancer. There's no retailer involved in this. So I just think it's a good use of the building. And as far as our lagoon, people use all kinds of chemicals on our lawns every year. And I also had a problem with my system, so I actually had polluted it a little bit myself, but I had to pay extra for it to get it fixed. And, so I guess that is a concern to look into to see about the phosphorus, but, and if they have a system where they can, you know, take the phosphorus out, but I guess I'm for it, so, and I think we need jobs. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
South of town. I believe it'd be a good thing because it is controlled in a building where it can be watched and regulated. Not like people with a methamphetamine problem back in the nineties when you were actually being followed by people wanting the anhydrous ammonia when you worked at a job. And that, I believe, does a lot more pollution because they're not able to throw their byproducts away properly. They just dump them in a ditch on the road next to your house. That gets in your water table really bad. But if you have it controlled and regulated, and watched over in a laboratory type environment, which I hope is possible. And if we could talk to the people that have the building, get their input into it. To see if they've done their research on it too, and give us some answers. Like, are they gonna bring people in? Are they gonna hire locally? How they're dispose it? Is it gonna be scrubbers or filters on their air systems? What they're gonna do, is they're gonna pre-treat their water supply before it goes in. That's all I have to say, and I believe it would bring good, we need some income coming in this town, we need some people working here. But we have to have some answers, from the people that are providing this to. Like, employ us first, before they bring anybody else in. Thank you, that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
Anyone? We have a lot of people here.
And I got a couple other things. Glenn Tillman, been here 7 years, but having a grow here, a legal one, is that gonna lead to illegal grows somewhere? I don't know if there's any going on, there's probably some going on already, but will that attract more people for illegal growing? And has the council tried to get other advertising, get other businesses in there? That's the other thing too. Have you tried advertising, letting people know that there's business available here? I like Blackduck the way it is. Don't need anything else here, like that stuff.
Anyone else?
Kathy Tobin. I don't live in town, but I live outside of town. Taught school here for many years. When, yes, when it says that this company coming in is just going to be growing it and distributing it to other locations. Well, what I was reading, what Christine read was with a cannabis event, then it sounds like they would give permission then to sell this product in town somewhere, because it would be, what is a cannabis event? I guess I don't know what that is.
I can comment on that
All right.
for you, Kathy. A
Okay.
cannabis event is something similar to, well, I don't want to use Backwoods Bash as an example, but what they would be doing is it would be marketed, there would be businesses there. Almost like a farmer's market, if you will. It needs to be controlled. It has to be a specific area, and people can try the product out in those types of events. And that's why there's so much regulation on it.
So it's something that the state has already put their.
I guess what I could explain to you, Kathy, is let's say somebody wanted to do something in a parking lot of a private entity. They would say that's where the event is going to be. It can only be there. The permit would get issued by the county, and the vendors that are there would be able to be there for the people that want to be in attendance. They would all have to be of 21 years of age. And yes, they could exchange retail for goods, but that event would be a one-off. It wouldn't be like a retail store. Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay,
So if somebody went through the process and got the permits
yep,
on a private thing and offered that, they would see if somebody's over 21 could come in and buy that,
mhm.
and could they then use it?
It's my understanding that the events, Kathy, you as the participant, you buy it and you use it when you're there. You can't leave with it.
So it could be something that could happen within city limits.
Yes, absolutely.
Let's say in here that somewhere that you read that the liquor store can carry it and sell it.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right,
Well,
that,
there you
that's
go.
curious what that meant, so.
Yep.
Okay. I don't think that'd be a good thing.
Okay.
Act, I just, go ahead, Ron.
Ron?
It is legal to grow it, and have it yourself. You don't need the business there to have it, and they're not gonna retail it here, from what I understand, correct?
That is correct.
That's correct.
So, yeah, you're still, it's legal in Minnesota. So. I'm gonna say, you know, whether or not it passes or goes through or they have it, you can still do it yourself. So at least it's not as toxic and evil or as bad, I think, as the methamphetamine problem was back in the 90s.
Thank you.
Yeah, Beachley again, it has been proved that it is a gateway to stronger drugs.
Thank you.
My name is Dawn and I've been in the city limits for about 3 years. I just have one question. It is a private property over here. And the real estate purchase, can it even be legally stopped at this point? If they meet all of the qualifications?
My understanding is no.
No,
I'm unaware of any real estate purchases that can be stopped by a city council of
Exactly,
any type, where this is not
exactly.
a debate on real estate sales. This, we're revising an ordinance, city of Blackduck.
Okay, so
This type
no matter what we do at this point, the purchase by this company,
is entirely up to them.
Entirely up to them, but you're gonna pass the ordinance to let them be by a daycare center.
So if you didn't pass the
One,
ordinance. they
one
couldn't
comment at a
legally
time,
do it.
please, folks. I'm sorry, but I have to dictate this. So please, I understand everybody's energy here, but I really need to make sure that things are orderly, please.
Still have.
that pretty much covered it.
Okay, sorry, Don.
Thank you.
I know you're saying that they can't, we can, yes, we or the city do not, they can buy it if they want. Just like if I had the money, I could buy it today if I wanted. But if we do not pass the city ordinance, they would not be able to grow there, therefore they would not want to buy the building. So you can still stop it within your power. So don't act like you don't have any power or you're powerless or innocent in the matter. It is up to you guys whether or not they buy that building. It is within your power today. So don't, if you pass it and 5 years from now, there's a ton of crime in Blackduck, that's on your hands. That's a risk you take. If they buy it and there's no more crime and there's a lot of people that are making a lot of money off in Blackduck, that is great. But it is, if there is more crime in 5 years, then it is on your hands because you have the power today to not have that happen.
Well said. Max, I just wanna, I just got something to add about food for you again. The comment about the fertilizer on your lawn and stuff. When you fertilize your lawn, it has nothing to do with the wastewater system. That's stormwater runoff. So that wouldn't affect,
Eventually it'll be into your water
That-
system.
but it doesn't.
Okay, well,
but it
I don't
doesn't
wanna-
affect your wastewater lagoons at all. I fertilize my lawn. I know how to fertilize my lawn. I do it the right way, which I'm sure most people do. Yeah, it can affect drinking water. That's why the city has a wellhead protection plan in place that they ran through Department of Health. I know that growers use quite a bit, they reuse quite a bit of their water. I believe they're gonna be using between 8,000 and 10,000 gallons a day. But they do reuse a lot of that water. But they can only reuse it so many times and then they gotta get rid of it, or they gotta treat it themselves. Because they'll get bacteria buildup in that water. So they either need to have an RO plant, an ultraviolet plant. Have they mentioned anything about this to the city? Has this been
Yes.
in discussions? Are they treating their own water?
On its way out. I don't know if Mike's had the conversations with them. Has he made you aware of anything, Christina?
Not outside the August 18th meeting, Max,
Okay,
but
so then back to,
the partners are on the Zoom call tonight, Bob. Max has the ability to give them the opportunity to speak tonight.
So
Because they
I
are
wanna
in
know
public
if they have an RO system or ultraviolet system, they still are gonna have wastewater. From that system, that's gotta go somewhere. Where is it going? You know, it doesn't take much to overload a wastewater system. There's other cities that are finding this out because of the same issue today. That you're talking about, so.
Okay.
further questions, comments?
Mark Notch, I just live out of Blackduck. What is the distance now for, I mean, before you guys redo this? What is the distance for cannabis business now from the park?
For a daycare, I believe it was 200 feet, Mark.
Okay, as part of like a park or anything like
Correct.
that. It
Yeah.
says basically zero here.
But only for this type of business.
Okay.
Okay,
Only for cultivation.
Right.
business.
Retail businesses are unchanged by the
Correct.
ordinance, and they're also licensed by the county of Beltrami.
Okay, so instead of shortening the distance to zero, it could also be increased. I suppose.
I'm sorry, could you say that last
Instead
part
of
again?
short, making the distance shorter, it could also be increased to prevent a lot of that.
My name is Amanda Nelson. I have lived here my whole life. I currently live in Blackduck for the last 8 years. My concern, not only with the environment that this company would bring for my family who live in town. I also work at Head Start, which is right next to the building that this company is purchasing. We are not a daycare. We are a early childhood education center. We serve 40 children and their families. What's gonna happen to our building if they're not allowed to be within so many feet? Are they gonna buy us out so we can move somewhere else, or what's gonna happen? That's my concern. Thank you.
Thank you. Further,
Jeff Beachley. Also, if there's anything that the city council can do to block this, make it tough for them, make it less enticing to them, it's on you guys to do it. And you know that the majority in this area does not want this. A big majority. And I think it's gonna hurt the town big time. We're gonna lose a lot of your local customers or the businesses that we already have. You're gonna lose a lot of that. Every business in this town is gonna hurt because of it. If you allow it to come in, and if you've got anything you can do to put a halter on this and get it hauled in and stop it, block it, I would suggest you do it.
Any further questions? Questions or comments? Your time, Christina. Questions or comments?
Do you want to ask your guests if they want to comment?
Yep. At this time, then I will ask Alan, can you hear me?
I can, yes. Can you guys hear me okay?
No. Can you
Not
speak
really.
up a little bit? The volume is really weak.
Okay, is this any better?
Not really.
No.
I apologize. The loudest I can get it.
Mine is on as loud as I can get mine as well.
Have we tried increasing it on the computer as well?
Hold on one second, Alan. I'll see if I can change anything.
Look on the computer and put it up on there.
Alan, why don't you say something?
Is this any better?
Nope, hang on. Hang on.
Worse.
No, I've got nothing. It is. I already have it on. Here it is. Please don't.
It's just a plus and a minus.
I say hit the plus sign. Yeah. Alan, can you talk?
Yes, is this any better?
No, it's not.
No.
Hang on. I gotta switch to the speaker.
Yeah, well, it's better than nothing.
Test.
Testing?
There you
Yep,
go.
I think we're better now.
Okay, is that better?
Possible.
I've got it as cranked as I can.
Okay, it's over here.
All right. I'm as cranked as I can. I'll try to talk as loud as I possibly can.
It is much better, so I'll do my best to keep everybody outside just to let you talk.
Great. Well, thank you, everyone, for being a part of this meeting, and thank you, the council. And what I'll start with is just saying, like, I understand this is complicated for the community there, and so I just wanted to try to address some concerns that I heard on the Zoom call, and I apologize for not being there. I would like to be there and meet each and every one of you to have conversations regarding your concerns. I think one of the biggest concerns that I heard what was regarding the wastewater runoff. And so I just want to address that to start with. First of all, we use our tables that our plants are grown on, and those tables collect any runoff. And the runoff is very minimal because our nutrients that we feed our plants is very expensive. So all of the nutrients is supposed to be on the plants, so it does not run into your wastewater. We have a separate holding tank for any type of wastewater that does come out of from the feeding of the plants, and that is it's very, very limited, and by no means is that going to affect the system there. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there to start with. I know it's a big concern. There are different methods for growing cannabis, and our method requires smaller plants, and very incremental fast feedings that aren't draining the plant, not draining to the wastewater essentially. So that's just something that unequivocally is not going to be a problem. Again, we have a wastewater holding tank, and that's separate. So I just want to put that one at rest. The other thing too, I heard a big concern, which was regarding the security of the property and security within the community. What I would say to that is that our facilities are full of cameras, and we will have our own security team. So we do have our own security procedures that we use to make sure that we are safe, and that we are not having issues with break-ins and things like that. So that's something that I can promise you will not occur. As far as jobs go, right? Obviously, we have to hire local. We will be bringing in some folks from our different locations that will live there. So we will be moving 1 or 2 people into their, maybe more than that, maybe 4 or 5 people into the community that are technical cultivators, facilities maintenance people, people that basically execute our standard operating procedures that we use to cultivate our cannabis. But it's really important to understand that this will be a high level technical facility that is built with a lot of different infrastructure that is very high end. And so these are very mechanical, technical, and requires a certain amount of skill set to be able to use. With that being said, we do have general labor. Our general labor will be paid more than minimum wage, and we will be looking to hire locals, obviously. And whether we get up to 150 jobs or not, we'll just have to see. We're a business. We have lots of other communities within Minnesota that have other buildings that we could purchase to do the same thing. But it really comes down to, how many jobs that we can create. And so if we don't get to the 150, that, I'm sure that we will get to, 100, 75, 80 to 100. Understand that cannabis is not a get rich quick scheme. This is very difficult business to run. Margins become very low. We're just like every other business out there. But we do try to pay our employees well. We're also a company that it offers employee stock options to our employees. And in fact, we are in the 97th percentile of all cannabis companies nationally as far as what our benefits offer. So we're very employee centric, I would call it. We're really looking forward to being a part of the community and bringing other folks outside of the community and to inside the community to execute our business. One other thing that I heard earlier that just is really, I don't believe to be the case, but I believe that other businesses within the community will thrive because there'll be more people within the community being transient, moving in and out of the city. Not a huge amount. We're not that big. So the thought that it's going to affect the community in a material way, I don't really necessarily believe that. I do realize that change is always hard and that cannabis is something that a lot of people don't know about. But what I can tell you is that doing this for 12 years, having kids of my own, having people I know that were addicted to drugs or have some type of issue on that front, I will tell you that alcohol is 10 times worse than cannabis, and we see that all the time. So that is something that the 12 years I've been in this industry has shown over and over again, that again, cannabis is much safer drug than alcohol. So you have alcohol within your community. And so I think what you're going to realize is cannabis isn't as scary as people think. There's a lot of medicinal uses for cannabis. But again, we'll be selling our product outside of the city there and the town. you know, it's going to occur. Other communities are going to have cannabis come into their community. This building happens to work for us, and we like the community, and we're looking forward to coming and being a part of the community and being a positive influence to the community. I know that some of you have reached out to our one of our towns in Benton Harbor, Michigan, that we have worked for a long time in. And when we went to that town, they brought in a lot of other cannabis operators, not just us. But without a doubt, you know, there was a resurgence in some of the businesses. It didn't change the community, but it did bring a little bit of job creation and a little bit of economic stimulation. So that was a good for the community. What else could I say? Is there any questions that anyone has for me?
One here, Alan, 1 second.
Yeah, Glenn Schuman here in Blackduck, and you talk about security for your building. What about the rest of the city, the residents and stuff? How are you gonna take care of them?
Well, I don't.
From south of Rochester into cities to get away from that stuff. And it's slowly filtering down to the smaller cities where I was at. I came up here to get away from it. So far, it's been doing pretty good. What kind of security are you gonna provide for residents and other businesses?
Well, I would say providing jobs at a higher than minimum wage offering will keep the local employees employed, and they will have their own money. So I don't think that that's going to move to the locals as far as any type of security issue.
That doesn't mean it's gonna attract any of the riffraff up here. We don't need any of that. I've seen it in a small town what it can do. It comes down from Rochester where I live. And it's not a pretty sight. You say you can protect your property. Like I say, what about the city, the rest of the city, the residents, and the businesses and the school, the kids? Are you gonna protect them too? And as far as what you're saying about the sewer treatment plant, what you say and what you do is two different things. That's on anything. Oh, I got it.
Okay.
I'm Joel Pollock, and earlier I asked what you would pay, and you said greater than minimum wage, but minimum wage in Minnesota is about $11, which even if my wife and I worked full-time, would not pay the bills. So you say greater than minimum wage, that could be a penny more. I'd love to hear a number that is close to what your actual starting wage would be for your people.
Yeah, I believe that it'd be $16 or higher for the very lowest wage. One of the things you have to realize is, you know, as far as other jobs that we've created in Benton Harbor, Michigan, again, I'm using that for example. There were many jobs over $50,000. One of the proudest things I've done in my career is watch dozens of young people that came in at $15, $16 an hour 6 or 7 years ago be able to buy their own homes. That's very rewarding. There are no universities for cannabis, so we have our own proprietary technology that we use, and I think that's something. I'm glad you brought this up because it's something that makes us very unique compared to other cannabis companies. We own all the technology within the building, so we own the lighting systems, we own the fertigation systems, the atmospheric control systems. Those systems are sold outside of where they're built. So we are constantly training our employees to be able to have capacity and to be able to move our business forward and to get larger. You know, that's our goal as a company is to create revenue for our shareholders and for our employees. And so with that being said, we're always trying to bring our employees up so that we can go to new communities and create jobs. So as far as your question goes, it will be above minimum wage, and there will be a lot of people that come in at minimum wage who become hard workers that have a career that will provide for their families very substantially.
You just said though that the starting wage will be around $16 an hour, and then you said a lot of people will come in at the minimum wage.
That they will, because we're going to be training them. So when we train them, we'll be training them at
So
the
what-
lower wage.
Oh, that's what it is, miss. You just said they'll come in and start at minimum wage after you said they'll start at $16 an hour. Or around that.
I'm saying we've always paid up higher than minimum wage. That's what I can tell you. So I don't see it being any different there.
All I can say is McDonald's in Bemidji were paying about $18 an hour today, so I don't know that we need all the potential risks that this business brings for low pay.
Well, what I'll say to that is there'll be lots of managers. So there'll be we'll be training people. There's assistant managers. We'll have accountants, bookkeepers. We'll have to have facility managers. All of those facility managers, the accountants, they will definitely make over $16 an hour. We'll also have other people making other products there, like bakers, people that know how to work high-end equipment that has to do with our extraction equipment. They all make much higher than minimum wage. I'm happy to provide details to that, but again, we're a business. We can't completely control how many people we'll be able to hire, and I think the concern that we do have is that there'll be enough workers within the community. But with the way that this business is just starting to really blossom and just get going in Minnesota, and these things always happen slower than you want. So as far as the growth, we can't really promise it or commit, but what I will tell you is that we're pretty darn good at making sure that the revenue that we're counting on happens in the time frame that we expect it to, and that revenue has to do directly with how many jobs are created and how many employees we employ. And so we don't plan on losing our track record there. We plan on building those jobs and being successful.
Thank you, Alan.
I was hoping Bob would ask this question. You mentioned a holding tank for your wastewater. What do you do with that?
It's very minimal, first of all, and we do have UV machines. So our water coming in has to be treated very, very well. More importantly, there are state laws that we have to abide by to make sure that we don't hurt the system. So understand that our business is the most highly compliant business in the pretty much the United States. One of the pieces of compliance has to do with tracking every single tenth of a gram of any product that goes in and out of the building. And that type of compliance also plays to making sure that there's security cameras so product doesn't end up in employees' hands and then end up in the community. That's on us to be able to contain, just like the wastewater. We are held to a standard that if we do anything wrong on that front with the wastewater, we could be out of business. So it's something that we take very serious to make sure that that doesn't occur. And all of the years I've been doing this, 12 or 13 years, we've never had a complaint like that. And I will tell you that nowadays we are able to collect the very minimal amount of water, which is extremely, very, very minimal. We're talking a couple drips underneath a plant every so often that comes out. And so you're just not talking about a lot of just liquid. It just doesn't exist. So if you have in your mind that we're just draining, these plants are just being fed and water is just coming out the other side and draining right into the sewer system or the holding tank, it's just isn't the way that it's cultivated. And anybody ever wants to see what we do, we're happy to show you.
You still haven't said how you're disposing of what you got in your holding tank.
There's very minimal, and we dispose that through the UV protection. And like I said, we don't have to dispose it. We never have to dispose water because it just doesn't collect. We have to have a holding tank in case it does collect, because that's part of what is offered or what we are mandated to do. But the runoff just doesn't happen. So there's no water to dispose of. It's that simple.
Again, thank you, Alan.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Got two. Are you gonna be affiliated with the Red Lake Nation tribe?
Could you approach the podium? I can't hear what you're saying.
Thank you, Ron.
I'm Danny Fingler. And I've got two questions for you. Are you gonna be affiliated with the Red Lake Nation tribe?
No, sir.
The other question is, if you don't meet the number of people that you need to hire here, what are you gonna do?
Well, we'll have a smaller operation, and obviously we'll try to do our best to bring folks in to work, but that'll just make the difference of how large our company is. If that's the case, we'll have to spread out our cultivation site, and that's how we would handle that situation.
How far will you go to get those people?
I mean, I think that, well, to be honest with you, what I would say is that in other places we've been, we have, people have come pretty far, to be honest with you. And the reason that they came far was because they wanted to work for our company. So I don't know how I would answer that question. I found it hard to believe when we were in Benton Harbor, Michigan, that someone would drive from Chicago, Illinois over to work at our facility. But there's the younger generation doesn't, they don't drink that much, and a lot of them want to work in cannabis. So they're willing to drive a long way for a career opportunity. And so I think in the past, we've seen that become a problem because at some points it's just too far for the employee to drive. It's just not sustainable. But I would expect that, people would drive an hour and a half, each way to work. Right. And I think we will need some space within the community we'll have people coming in and out of town, not a ton of people, but we'll have certain folks that have certain amount of expertise that will need to come in and fix our equipment or install our equipment. So that will provide economic stimulation for the hotels, for the restaurants. But as far as it materially changing the community, it's just not going to do it. I can promise you that.
I've heard rumors of you busing in Muslims to fill the position. Is that correct?
No.
No, sir, that's not true. Everybody has to go through a process of approval. So there will be no illegal immigrants, if you will, that are not registered within the state. They won't be able to work in our facility. That's the law.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Alan.
Thank you, guys. And again, I'll just leave you guys with, I completely understand how complicated this is for the city. And what I can tell you after 12 or 13 years of doing this, that it's not as scary as you think, and you're not going to see these major changes that you think that you might be concerned about. Cannabis becomes pretty mainstream pretty quickly because it's just not something that's really in anyone's face. It's just not something that's that is just in your face. I don't know how else to say it. There's a lot of medicinal uses for it, and we really appreciate the council's consideration of this matter. And we're an open book. We've done a lot of, we like to really get involved and give backs to the community. We have to do that in a way that is obviously sensitive of the fact that we are cannabis. But our goal is to be a positive influence within the community and for us to be good stewards of the community. And as far as any other questions anybody ever has for us, feel free to contact us. We feel like communication is key, and disclosure is very, very important. And we just want to make sure that there's an open line of communication for any concerns.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Peggy Berkey, and I live on Blackduck Lake.
Could you speak a little louder, ma'am? I'll blame it on my age, but I can't quite hear you.
I'm Peggy Brecky. I live on Blackduck Lake. My late husband was Douglas Goblish. I don't know if anybody knows him, but he worked for the Public Health Service up at Red Lake. He worked in water and individual and community systems. I want them to provide the documentation of what exactly they will be putting into our land. And he says it's just a couple drips per plant. I'm a housewife, I don't know nothing, but I had a drippy faucet, just a little bump, bump, not fast, not anything. One day, it was full gallon. You multiply that by a whole bunch of other things and plants and all the bigness of this whole thing. It adds up. We have got to have documented proof. I know that up there at Red Lake, they had to have real documentation before they put anything in the ground for people. And personally, I think that this whole thing is a whole can of worms for this city, this area. And I really, really want you to consider the impact, not now, not just money, not now, but the whole range of things from years to come. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you. Further questions? Comments? Second time for questions. I'll ask for questions for the third time.
I have a question. I kind of read through some of the.
Would you please approach the podium?
Can you come up close? Wait, front,
We all
please.
have to hear you, please.
I'm sorry, I just got here.
State your name, just for the-
And whether you're a resident of
Yes,
Blackduck.
just for the record.
Okay, I'm Aileen Moline, and I live right across from the school. Okay. I kind of read through the amendments thing, and I don't understand. I was told that there was not gonna be a store retail, whatever it was called. As I read through it, it looked to me like there was going to be some of the chewable gummies or hemp or whatever it is. And I'm very concerned about that because one of my friend's little girls, somebody gave her a gummy. She was only 2 years old, and they just about lost her. And with it being so close to the kids, not only the school kids, but the daycare kids, that really scares me because I know that it is really dangerous. I've also got some other friends that are smoking pot because they have sores, they hurt, they can't get around, their joints are hurting and all that kind of stuff. Okay, that's all well and cool, but why does it have to be here in town? It's already available up at Red Lake. I know that people have got things up there. I know some of them personally. And I'm just been really concerned about this. I got all up in a fuss when I read it, because I'm not a legalistic person or whatever, but I'm a mom and I'm a grandma, I'm a babysitter, I've got kids around my place all the time, and what's gonna happen to them? Like Peg said, when this goes on further and further. Okay, you got lots of money coming in, but how much money is it gonna cost if we're gonna start losing some of our kids or some of our adults of any of that stuff? So I'm very, very concerned about this. That's all I can say.
Thank you.
Somebody. Worried about the visible presence of this. What's it gonna look like? Is it? I mean, is it gonna have a big sign that says we make weed? What's the visible presence? No. What's it look like?
So to answer your question, no, there won't be a sign that says that that's what we do. We really try to stay as private as we can. There's strict rules around security, as I said. Everyone who comes into our facility has to basically put on new clothes. We have strict protocols to leaving the building and coming to the building because, as I said before, we're the most highly regulated industry there is. Every part of our product has to be tested through a third party. All of our ancillary products will have to have child-proof containers, just like any other pharmaceutical type of drug. But really, we try to keep a pretty low profile, and that's just kind of our MO, and that's how we'll do it there in Blackduck.
So I am a grandma and my 4-year-old grandson did get a gummy and he ate it and he spent 3 days in Minneapolis Children's Hospital. So that is, visibility is a concern to me, but I'm also aware that it is everywhere. It is everywhere now in an illegal form or an illegal presence. What you're suggesting is something that's absolutely controlled and bound by laws or ordinances. Red Lake got their ordinances, but all the growers everywhere else don't. So just as far as people being aware of it being in the community, it is here. There is a lot of it here already. This would be
Safer. It'll be a lot safer. Our facility is built, all the facilities are built to create safe products, And so when you think of cannabis being grown and people consuming it illegally, there's a lot of pesticides that are used. We can't use the pesticides. There's a few approved ones, but for the most part, we have to have clean space types of rooms. That's why people have to put new clothes on before they enter, and they don't. I just want to clarify a couple points. Again, the containers are all childproof. As far as the drip coming out of the system, the drip goes into our plants, and it is a drip system. Literally, that's what it's called. There's 2 little stakes, almost like a stake that is being staked in a tent, an old school plastic stake, and that just drips slow amounts of nutrients and water into the plant medium, and that plant medium soaks it up, and when it's finished, then it drips again. So if water is coming out of the bottom of the plant, then there's something wrong with our system, because that's not how we cultivate. So That's all I can tell you on that. As far as bringing people in, our goal is to bring people in the region. We want to bring people in from Bemidji and around the area. That is our goal. So just want to make sure that that's a clarifying point. And we're going to pay what the market requires. I mean, that's the bottom line. Our goal is to take good care of our employees, for them to be offered employee stock options, and for us to provide a company that they want to work for. And that's how we got in this space, and this is how we operate and what we stand for. Again, I really understand everyone's concerns, and I appreciate everyone coming out and stating their concerns. I appreciate the council, going through this process. I know this isn't easy for anyone, but I can promise you guys that life in Blackduck will continue the way that it always has, if we are so fortunate to be able to work in that community. But thanks again, everyone. And for any more concerns, you guys can, we're happy to address them.
Okay, thank you, Alan. I'll start again. Are there any questions, comments? Second time, any questions or comments from the public? Third time. Questions or comments from the public? Seeing none.
I'll close the public hearing and open our regular city council meeting.
Second that. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Just to clarify, we're closing the public hearing and we're starting our normal city council meeting that we would have scheduled on this date with separate agenda.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. We are in our regular meeting. I'll wait a few moments for everyone to get comfortable or move out. She's out of here. Here comes back the half of a meeting. Daniel, I have a question for you. How was practice? Good.
We're just beginning the regular council meeting.
So now we're gonna start a council meeting because we got done with a public hearing. I don't like that business.
The whole meeting.
She had that trouble too. Yeah, I heard that. She gave me.
Christina? Recess till everybody's cleared.
You need to wait for Lloyd to get out of the restroom.
Yeah.
We are good at needing security. Well, I think I'm gonna bring my Muslim friends here.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Thanks. Thanks, Bob.
What kind of drinks do you have that refrigerator?
You need water? No.
Be careful.
Sit in a rolling chair.
Yeah, sit in a rolling chair.
All right. We'll move on. We have our call to order here. Christina, you have the roll for our regular meeting.
Yes.
We approve tonight's agenda.
I'll second that.
A motion to approve tonight's agenda. All in favor? Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Under the consent agenda, all items on the consent agenda will be passed with one council motion unless there is something that needs to be removed for further discussion. It was
3 pages long.
only a little bit to go through this afternoon.
That's why I sent it to everyone as early as I could. I apologize.
It was quite the,
I almost went around the alphabet twice.
yeah. I was really looking forward to the AI section. Then I realized that wasn't what I thought it was.
No, welcome back, Lori.
Thank you.
And welcome back, Lori. Yes.
Yep.
All right. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move we approve this evening's consent agenda.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second on the consent agenda. Is there any discussion on this or anything that needs to be taken out? Okay, then with the vote.
Thank you.
Then with the vote, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. And that was even approving the toys for kids. Everybody
Yes.
saw that in the consent.
Yeah.
Okay, so we did talk with Misty, just so everybody knows. We didn't just.
You just send
Just
blown
didn't
out the
send it to
plates,
her,
yeah.
All right. Anyone here for the Blackduck Forum? Seeing none, Christina. I will move to the administrator's report. Doing things a little differently this evening.
Well, I really thought our public would still be in attendance, but that's at this point, I think the council has received plenty of public comment. Knowing that the last public hearing was tonight, and now we're on your regular meeting, Max, the consideration for the amendment of the ordinance that was read this evening is the first item to take action on.
Okay. So. There's a motion to approve. Ordinance 2025-24.
Motion to approve ordinance 2025-24.
To clarify, it's 2025-04. You're
Oh, excuse me.
You're moving.
I'm 04, sorry.
Can we restate that?
20, motion. To approve ordinance 2025-04.
04.
Thank you. Thank you, Ron. I have a motion. Do I have a second? I will second that then, Christina,
Okay, so you guys can have discussion.
so we can have a discussion.
Thanks.
Lori, you're back. What do
You're
you
gonna
think?
pick on me then, aren't you?
You gotta,
Hang on, me and this computer are having,
no problem.
we're not playing very well together right now.
Ron? Don? Hey, anybody?
We get there, I'm getting there slow. Yes. Okay, thank you. You want discussion, huh?
I do want discussion.
Okay. Well. I'm probably not gonna be the most popular person here, but I'm for changing the ordinance.
Okay.
Um. There, you know, they brought up some good points, but that's, our point is this, the ordinance is what we're dealing with.
The ordinance is what we're dealing with.
Right. And it does have, you know, it does have come with some other things that have been brought up. I don't feel like this company is coming in here to wreck this town. I feel like they're a business, they have a product. As far as, I think there's some people who had some, you know, ideas about them having gummies. I don't know where they exactly got that, but it's just, it's an indoor grow house.
Correct.
So,
And then, from what I understand, eventually he's gonna manufacture their own LED lights. and
yes.
And grow tables. Yeah,
I mean, the liquor store sells gummies right now.
They sell it now.
THC drinks.
And THC drinks.
Mhm. So I don't see, I mean, I just don't see the big element of negative coming into town. I mean, it doesn't matter if you put in, you know, the liquor store. Do you have break-ins in the liquor store? Attempts?
Not in 12 years I've been here.
Yeah.
no.
But there have been attempts
Mhm.
in the way back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, if you've
It's not-
got something worth something, people are gonna want it. It doesn't matter really what it is.
I will say this, I did speak with the mayor of Benton Harbor,
I
Michigan.
did read that, what he wrote, or what Christina asked.
Yeah.
Correct. And if I had to, how did he describe, he said that Noble was a company that put its money where its mouth is, and Alan's the type of person that when he says he's going to do something, he does it. That was his evaluation of his character. That is what he told me directly. I know it's new. And I know it's also very, and it's legal.
And it's, whether they do it there or not, it's everywhere. Your next door neighbor, you could not even know, and you're getting, your next door neighbor probably has a basement. full of
The,
plants.
the idea that as of right now, someone could come in to this, just to the area. I'm not even saying in the city limits of Blackduck. But I'm saying they could come into our area, buy their 20 acres, and do the exact same thing.
Yep.
And then there's no need for the building that sits inside city limits. And it sits there. I should also mention that the mayor said that, or Ben Harbor said that they took a building that was completely run down, hadn't had anything in it for 5-6 years. And they redid it. So with that, I don't want to see it go 5-6 years. Or how do we as a city try to attract something else? I've heard the rumor mill the same way everyone else has. That, well, Polaris or Articat was gonna come in, or the Marvin Windows or DigiKey or Amazon or.
And they shut that down here.
And Who shot that down years ago?
Well, I heard a long time ago, there was a big manufacturing place that wanted to come in here, but the city council at the time shot it down.
I don't know how.
Cause they didn't want industry or industry in this town.
And that's the rumors.
That's
Before my time.
And I can tell you right now that the last thing I wanna do is exclude business. That's how I feel about it.
I mean, if something doesn't move in there, our taxes are gonna be going up 10%, 5%, 7% every year until people can't afford to live here anymore anyway. That's the trend it's heading in right now.
You're on the finance committee, you know what we went through to get that.
I know I had to give some people some elbows to get it down.
But I mean, in all seriousness, I'm looking at it and I understand, because believe me, I know something about addiction. I've been to treatment for alcohol. I'm an alcoholic. I haven't had a drink in 9 years, but I'm still an alcoholic. I think that's a lot more to do with an individual person than I do a substance. If anybody else has something they want to add to this, feel free. Counselor.
We're revising an ordinance to, change buffer zones. So, within a daycare, basically, is what the issue is.
That is your issue, sir.
We're getting quite a global, spin on it. And they did, are, in the back of my mind, people were concerned about locating a manufacturer next to daycare and a Head Start, so it's a
Head
school
Start,
technically.
yes.
And, I know originally the company in the original presentation said they had in the past relocated and such. I believe they said they relocated that, or would be talking about relocating that facility, a type of facility like that. So I don't think that's been explored. So there's the potential for that. Be explored.
Well, it's something that,
If the daycare wasn't there, we wouldn't be having this ordinance. So,
no,
Yeah,
we wouldn't even be having this conversation.
Right. And from what I could read, by cap is
Neither for or against.
or against, they're either way, they're fine. Yeah, I just don't see it being all that scary.
I think that if the BICAP wanted to, they could have that conversation with Noble themselves.
Yes.
That's my take on it. Don, you're off quiet. I'm gonna call on you. If you're not gonna volunteer something, I'm gonna call on you.
I kind of took in what everybody was saying and, I do have concerns about if there's ramifications down the road of the noise or the, like water or anything, or, down the road, it's not saying right now, but for people that live by it, can these be addressed civilly, without them pushing back with, that's what my big concern about this is.
Like you
Your
said,
concern is of them being a good neighbor.
Yeah, being a good neighbor, yep. Or, you know, like Bob Clute Junior said, you know, I mean,
I
You know,
realize they can
yeah.
say one thing and do, and
Exactly.
anybody can sit here and lie to us all they want. But I don't think I don't think that is their goal. I don't think that is, that's just, I guess, my opinion on that one. But so far as them being a good neighbor, I think they kind of addressed some of that. They are interested in community.
and you know, that's. I brought this up before, you know, people taking care of their businesses and buildings and whatever, you know, and that's my main thing is the infrastructure for Blackduck. You know, if it's gonna affect anything. That's my only concern, so it doesn't end up on the taxpayer's dollar. So. That's where I'm at with this. I know it doesn't really pertain to the ordinance, but it kind of does.
I understand. It's all part of it here or there. One way or the other. I can say that if we vote one way and you don't change the ordinance. As they stated, as some folks stated that, you know, that's within our power to do that. But I would caution that because I feel like that opens the door for some legal ramifications for the city that we wouldn't be ready for. You know, I mean, they're all possibilities. You're talking about a lot of what ifs. So I mean, that is another concern that, you know, it's in the statute, it's in the ordinance that quotes the statute. We can't prohibit.
So. Are they gonna be the owners of the property, or are they the owners of the property, or what's the?
I don't
know. We
But
already
it
got out
says
the
here,
weeds
in
here.
this, in this ordinance, it says we need it. Full name of property owner.
Well, they haven't bought the property
Yeah,
yet.
well,
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah,
So
no.
I mean, what we're doing then is essentially changing an ordinance that's making it so we're not excluding a business. You're not trying to include one particular business. You're just not excluding anything. In my mind. Got anything else to say, Ron? To the ordinance?
Max, you mind if I make a couple of comments?
I will entertain your comments, Christina.
So I too have had, drug issues in my family too. So everybody that spoke tonight, I feel you. I empathize with everybody that is afraid of this. I am too. I will still tell you today, from a personal standpoint, that I think any drug is bad. The problem that we have as citizens of the state of Minnesota and of this community is our legislators have already made it legal in 2023. They're just now starting to issue licenses throughout the state.
Correct.
The only thing we can do as Minnesota residents is control our own communities the best we can. Because regardless of what's going to happen with NOBO, any retail business that complies with the statutes and the ordinance of the county can come into our downtown area. And it specifically says right in the ordinance that communities and local government cannot over manipulate these ordinances to keep them out.
It's a good point.
So if that is done because of community impact, a local government can open themselves up to lawsuit. It's happening in Silver Bay right now. Happening in Albert Lee right now. And some of these towns are really small and they don't have the attorney fees or the infrastructure to support that. So the only thing we can do as a community is to control what we have given, what we've been given by the state. And we need to look about it as that. I believe that this company is good. I had a really great personal conversation with the city administrator from the city of Benton Harbor, Michigan. And he was straight up, he said, of the 5, because Novo not only has cultivation and wholesale in Benton Harbor, Michigan, but they also have a retail business in Benton Harbor, Michigan, population of 8,000 people. Somewhere small enough, smaller than Bemidji, bigger than my hometown of Ely. But of the 5 retail businesses that they have in town, they've never had any issues, licensing, personnel, or law enforcement issues with Novo's retail business. That speaks volumes to me. That speaks about their company and what they're trying to do. And if we want to attract any business or have new business come in, we want someone or a business that has good values. And it is, like you said, Max is gonna do what they say. I still don't like it as a person, totally honest, don't like it, won't do it. Don't want any of my family members to do it anymore. But I can only control what's been given to me. I never wanted it legal in 2023. It's too late already. Should have been down at the state a long time ago to say something. But obviously my voice isn't loud enough. So I can only help and do what we can to, control what we have here.
Well, it's more than 2 comments.
Sorry.
Thanks, Christina. I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
You guys have more discussion on it? Then at this time, I will request a roll call vote on this, Christina.
Okay.
So if you would call us off one by one.
Okay. I guess I will start with you, Max.
I vote aye.
Nick,
Aye.
Ron,
Nay.
Nay,
Yes.
Don,
Aye.
I'm sorry, Don.
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Lori. Aye. Max, your vote is 4-1. That means you've passed the revision.
Okay. We can move on to our taxing.
No, actually, I added something in B, and that's why Glenn and Cameron.
That's why we're still.
You're not-
That's why they're still awake.
Oh,
We're not here because you want to continue to talk about this.
I don't use my
hear.
opinion anymore.
No, you've already given it. And I don't live here anymore, so.
Hey, if you don't speak up, no one knows, right?
That's right.
That's
Yep.
Yeah.
part of being,
The process.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, Glenn. I think you're out.
You don't need to go to the podium tonight.
Oh.
There's not enough people here now.
You want me to?
Both of us.
Okay.
I'm here as a Legion member now and a veteran representing the Legion, and Karen is here representing the Legion Auxiliary. So, the benches that were out at the memorial out at the park out there, they were damaged by the lawnmower hitting them, and they were taken down by the city. That was, as my understanding, that was already admitted by the person doing the lawn mowing out there. They hit it and clobbered them and broke them up pretty good. We've ordered.
Oh, no.
Yeah. The Veterans Memorial at Wayside.
At the Wayside Rest?
At the Wayside
Wayside
Rest,
Rest,
yeah.
yeah.
How long ago did this happen?
Well, they've been, the legs of them have been damaged for quite a while.
Okay.
and
Okay.
We
Okay.
just noticed that they probably weren't safe to sit on anymore. They were cement and they were bolted in, but the legs, the feet were damaged and then the legs partway up had been damaged. So they really weren't safe anymore.
Okay.
between the auxiliary and the post, we have ordered, new benches. And they're gonna get plaques. We ordered 2 benches and actually Jennifer Parker is gonna order them. And we're gonna get 2 plaques. One is gonna recognize the Legion, one is gonna recognize the auxiliary. We're paying for the benches between the auxiliary and the post. We're gonna pay for the benches and the plaques. And what we're asking, for the city to contribute or help or pay for the shipping on the benches.
Oh, I bet you they're happy.
It was $269.47 for shipping.
And
And then also if your guys could install them in the spring, when, you know, when the ground thaws and everything. The organization that put that memorial there is no longer in existence. Because we had talked about going to them and trying to split this cost 3 ways. And they're no longer in existence in Bemidji. So the benches are $538 each. And as Glenn said, the auxiliary is gonna pay for one, the Legion is gonna pay for the other one, as well as the plaques. And so we're just here tonight to see if the city would be willing to pay the shipping costs and then install them in the spring.
And the benches include the uprights?
Yeah,
that you were-
I've got a small picture
Because you said
here.
the uprights or the legs were damaged?
Yeah, and
the
see, the whole
benches-
bench was cement
Yeah.
or whatever.
Oh, and these are now the
And those are
recycled.
hard plastic, recycled plastic.
Okay.
And then it looks like probably metal for
I think
for the steps.
the main reason we decided to come to the city to ask for the shipping costs is because,
We wrecked the other ones?
no. No, besides that, I mean, our funds, we're nonprofit, of course, but we don't have any other income coming in. So we struggle with a lot of other nonprofits. That's the one reason why we decided to come to the city, and it is part of the city park. Memorial is
An
part of the
important
city
part.
park.
And plastic would be more durable when the lawnmower abuses it.
Well, I'm gonna ask that maybe the lawnmower doesn't get quite so close.
Or they move them in a little bit. So that's,
Well, Mike misses that he's missing a meeting, so he gets volunteered to do it.
Well, I'll make a motion that the city cover the cost of shipping not to exceed $300 for the benches, and that we ask our maintenance director, Mike, and his crew to assist with, or to handle the installation of them in the spring.
Yes.
And any removal of any remnants of the old ones that need to be removed.
I think Jennifer said that was.
That's my motion.
I'll second that.
A motion and a second.
Just quick point of order. How are we paying for it?
not to.
What fund are you?
Park maintenance.
Oh.
We're made to-
Which fund?
Park maintenance, he
Park
said.
maintenance.
General fund. That would be out of the general fund. Thank you.
Whatever we would do to probably maintain
Okay.
the park.
All right. So not to exceed. When are they gonna be getting?
They're here.
They're here,
Oh,
They are in Mike Zimmerman's garage right now.
my neighbor.
he wants to house them all winter.
He said he would. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just making sure that,
So that price is set. I mean, that
Okay.
was the
oh,
shipping.
that
cost.
was the shipping
Yeah.
cost. All right.
To be clear then, would we be paying the auxiliary or
No,
back?
no,
We'd be paying this company?
yeah, and I can get more information. from
Signature
Jennifer.
Streetscapes?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
And I guess the reason why we decided in the spring is because we didn't know how fast they would get here. And this is October and anything can happen.
Yeah.
We didn't expect the weather to be, yeah, I know I shouldn't say that.
Yeah, don't jinx it. It's been a good round.
But
Can I have this?
Yes.
springtime is sufficient.
Then with that, we have the amended motion, however you want to put it, with.
Yes.
I got it.
Thank you.
You bet.
We have the motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None, motion carries.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Really
Thank
appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Have a good one.
Yeah, you too. You can.
Thanks for your patience.
Sure. Well, being in the military, you're welcome. I appreciate that. Being in the military, you kind of learn that patience thing. Hurry up and wait. Thank you.
Max, I need to use the restroom. I'm sorry.
I had.
Let's,
Recess?
can we have a recess?
Motion. You
Motion,
you
I have a
do
motion
for
to
it.
recess.
Yes.
We got 10 minutes.
Okay, at 8:25.
Okay.
First and second, please.
Yes. First,
Lori and
Don.
Don.
yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
10-minute recess.
Christina, I'll be in there after you, so. we go
Okay.
first.
There's one downstairs.
I've never been downstairs.
No, don't go downstairs.
Remember we didn't fund for the fixing the foundation?
Yeah.
That was for the what?
Oh, you guys were talking about that one invoice, right?
Nope,
We can hammer that out, right?
I can hammer that
Have
out.
to, debate it though. You know, I support it.
done?
No, is that all right?
I wanted to be here for the meeting.
Oh, thank you.
It took me a second to recognize you the other day.
Guarantee
Oh
you.
my gosh, it used to be this.
Had a hair, yeah.
I think you look great. I think you look great.
Me?
Yeah, 'cause you were like, I feel so old. I'm like, no, you look like him and like,
Okay.
I did not know.
for what it's worth.
I just noticed that.
What
if
time?
you-
Well, we're gonna try to run through this stuff real.
Body starts to. Probably not. It's like.
Yeah.
Moving.
Yeah.
What time is it?
8:25.
Yeah, they're taking-
Yeah, I'm sure.
And being in your sixties, you know, and having just kind of start.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a lot less time for younger people,
yeah.
but it's more complicated for them.
Yeah.
That was just built to learn.
Left the light on for you, Ron.
All right, but I'm gonna.
I had a lot of people coming to the meeting. Well, I was done.
I feel only a little bit guilty, but does anybody on the board want to look at it? You want some?
Yes, I would love some more water.
Try to.
One thing I dehydrate like immediately. I
Yeah.
drink 2 of these a day.
Yeah.
That's, one of these are like 33 ounces. And I'm still like, thank you.
Water's
Hands
good.
dry up, it's just. Thank you.
Well, good.
Thanks, Mike.
Good night, Mike.
Yeah. Little balls.
Oh.
Like that, bud. Are you happy to be back to school, though, going, cruising?
What? You're not happy to be back at school? Oh, no. Ellie loves school. It's my saving grace with her. She loves going to school.
We walked right by your house.
Yeah,
What is Ellie yelling? Oscar's name.
yeah. She likes to yell at him a lot. She likes to yell, period. That's what she does.
Like you.
You're next in line.
No.
You gotta go. I will give the kid the right to go anytime.
I know.
I know it's hard enough for you to sit still. It's even worse when you gotta
He does
go.
pretty good, I think.
I can live. I'm gonna walk. It's my leg hurts.
Ellie would not, I could never do that. Even now, she would just. She'd start doing flip flops or whatever.
Brilliant. Got that. I got that.
Okay,
Motion to, you want to bring it back, basically.
Reconvene.
reconvene.
Motion to reconvene the meeting.
Second,
All in favor?
I.
Thank you for that short recess. Okay,
All right.
where were we?
We were on item C. Under my administrator's report, this is the resolution approving that amended spending plan that included the, public hearing tonight. For the TIF
Okay.
district.
Yes, our TIF district.
Make a
Take
motion
for that.
to approve resolution 25 or 2025-17.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Is there any discussion on this one? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item D is the purchase agreement between the city of Blackduck and Blackduck Co-op Ag Services for the conveyance property we spoke of at the work session.
Motion to approve the purchase agreement between the city and Black Duck Co-op Ag for the conveyance property specified.
I'll second that.
A motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is done.
And then resolution 2025-18 is authorizing the conveyance within the city limits between Blackduck. Between the state rail bank or for the state rail bank property to Blackduck Co-op. So you have to approve the purchase agreement before we can approve the resolution. So this is just subsequent to letter D.
Correct.
I will make a motion to approve resolution 2025-18, authorizing our conveyance of the state rail bank property to the Co-op Ag Services in the city limits of Black Duck.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Glad to see it's done. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Carries.
I just have 4 dates for the council. The next meeting of the planning commission will be October 15th. The next work session is October 20th. And then November 10th, gonna be a late one, will be your November council meeting. The very
Oh.
next day is the 11th,
Oh,
and it's Veterans Day. So our
yeah.
city offices are closed here. So,
So we go boom, right there.
yeah, any questions on those? I'm not gonna give a report tonight. I've just been busy the last 2 weeks with everything that we've discussed already.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, I
November.
know you have to.
November 10th gonna be long because of
It's a late meeting, late in the month.
Yeah, so the ordinance, Dawn, states that our meetings are the first Monday.
Yep.
After the 3rd.
Yeah.
But because of the way that calendar is rolling in November, the 10th is more optimal.
Okay, all right.
We only usually have like maybe 2 in the year that push it that far.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not more optimal, it's required by the ordinance. It's the first Monday after the 3rd.
Yeah, so that's it for me.
Okay. Nobody else is here.
Well, point, yes, you're correct. Misty did bail, but however, I can speak to her report. Shonda emailed me after I sent the agenda packet out to you guys that she was not going to be in attendance. So that's why her department is still on here. There's no report provided.
Okay.
So if you're okay, Max, I can move forward with the golf course.
Yeah, considering that covers pretty much Mike and the golf course and.
So what I provided for council is, this is the damages to getting the lift station fixed at the golf course. And I want to have a discussion on how to pay for it.
6,000.
So the golf course already took the hit on all the number of times the system had to get pumped out before we had an opportunity to really figure out what was wrong. So there was subsequently between $600 and $800 worth of services paid for. And then the rental of the porta johns in order to have public restrooms for everybody that was at the golf course. Those were out there too. So roughly the golf course income statement took a hit of about another it took about $1,300 to their income statement for just keeping the place running.
That's in addition to this bill.
That is,
Right.
those bills are in,
Mhm.
the bill report, Ron.
Okay.
So my question, and Mike's not here, so I can't ruffle his feathers. But I was going to ask anyway, was if you said how we're going to pay for it, Christina.
Well, yeah,
I
I
need
mean,
to
I'm
know-
sure everybody really wanted to know how this was gonna hit the golf course, but I didn't wanna just take it upon myself to code it without this council having some input.
Okay, so. And that's one of the things I want to talk to Mike about. Was the lift station that's out there on, 4th Street. Right across from. Well, that's where 4th Street would have come out at. If 4th Street didn't have half the town, or the. It's out by the football fields.
Oh,
those-
on 4th Street Northeast, the
Yeah.
one by, Serenity,
Correct.
okay?
I don't know how else, I didn't know how we were identifying that one, so I'll just,
We
just going with
labeled that as the 4th Street Northeast station.
okay.
Yeah.
So,
So you're spot on.
but I didn't know if that had started out originally as a privately owned.
No, actually, well, yes and no. So here's the.
The reason I'm asking is because. Is the golf course responsible for the lift station? Because it's at the golf course, like or is this is this a public works thing? Could this be, or is this in the golf course budget? What line?
I see kind of why you're asking that question. So if I could just comment back on the first part about 4th Street Northeast. So 4th Street Northeast was developed and the infrastructure put in by the developer and then subsequently provided to the city. That system did not originally have a lift station in it by Serenity. However, the people that were at the very end, the south side of 4th Street Northeast, I think Glenn's in Glenn's in the house that had it. That particular property owner, when their house was built, put it upon themselves to put their own private lift station in there to make sure their wastewater got down 4th Street, okay? But when 4th Street Northeast sewer line failed in 2014, I want to say 14 or 15, that's when that lift station went in, that's by Serenity. We needed it.
Okay.
So
Did you
you're
say put in by Serenity?
near, in
Yeah,
location
It's owned by
wise,
the city of Blackduck.
yes.
Okay.
Yep. So, however, all of that service and repair was assessed to the 4th Street Northeast resident property owners. So that whole section there was
Okay.
assessed. Because what happened is basically the sewer line wasn't down deep enough and it failed. When it got cameraed, it did this. At that time, actually Bob Klug Jr. was still Public Works Director. It was recommended by our engineers that that section did need its own lift station because what happens is that wastewater from that stretch goes over to Liberty
And then.
and then over to the Liberty lift station and then subsequently over to Black Mallard. So that's how that's looped. So we
Okay.
needed to get it,
So that's, yeah,
we needed to get it first further and it when the developer put it in, it was an at-grade system.
Okay, so there was no real private
No,
owned system there.
no,
So
no, it was not. Going back to the golf course portion, I look at it a little differently than what you're proposing. Case in point, when prior to us remodeling the liquor store, when the wastewater system from the bar made its way out of the building, we had to pay, when that place got remodeled, to dig up the ground and
Correct.
fix that line.
Yep.
During the remodel. That was all on the liquor store. Because all of the water coming out of there was from that fund. I think of the golf course in the same manner.
Okay.
Okay, that lift station is controlled and controls all the wastewater coming out of that clubhouse. I understand that it's all sewer. I understand that that's what we're doing here. However, that is the only way that golf course can get its wastewater to the main line that goes out to the ponds. So the only other alternative, and I don't know how long that lift station's been there, it sounds like it's been there since the new building was there and probably precedes that. The only other alternative would have been for the city to consider putting in private septic at that point. And my guess is, and I'm assuming, that Beltrami County probably wouldn't have allowed it because of the water, because of the creek.
Correct.
Okay, so that was probably the city's only option at that point, to have sewer there.
Okay.
So it's kind of an individual situation. But again, the golf course being a special revenue fund, if the council feels the need to support it, they could do the same as you did with authorizing the purchase of the last piece of equipment and pay for it out of general fund reserves. If you wish to solely and completely have the golf course be responsible for it, then that would be the other alternative. I would not recommend that you hit actually the wastewater fund for this, because it's not completely just wastewater. If that were the case, then you can argue that the lift station by the Drake Motel should be paid by the liquor store, because the liquor store's wastewater goes into that.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I'm just making sure that we're all.
Yep.
That all of our pipes are connected here.
Yeah, I mean, I can see the loop that could be considered saying it's all sewer.
Yes.
But in reality, I mean, the liquor store already pays for water and wastewater. They get a utility bill every month. It comes out of their operating.
Okay.
So does the city hall, so does the library.
So then what we. As our CFO.
VIP?
Yeah.
Sorry, it's been a long night.
Your recommendation is.
I mean,
not-
I'm the first one to admit that I want the golf course to completely and totally have a good year. But I'm also the first one to admit that it needs support. So I'm kind of torn on this, and I gave you the two options that I would say you do. It's you guys' say, not mine.
So this, again, the lift station solely serves the golf course.
That is correct.
And
Correct.
we're considering not charging it to the golf course. Is that what the debate's about?
This is the conversation, yes or no. Right.
In other words, does the city want to bail the golf course out? For this bill?
We had a pretty good year.
I don't know if it's, I don't know why we're doing it. We subsidize the golf course anyway, so why would we be charging it somewhere else? Did you not, interested in not making the conversation longer, but did you say this was damaged somehow or?
No,
Failure?
I was talking regarding Fourth Street
Yeah,
Northeast.
this is a normal failure of a pump.
This is age. Yeah.
This is,
I heard the word damage and I thought maybe something happened to it or.
Understood. This is age.
Okay.
I think this conversation has happened. We are honestly pretty grateful that it was the lift station and a controllable fix and not the line from that lift station out to the main wastewater line that's on Peasley's property line. Because to the city's knowledge, we don't know where that line goes. It's not traced. And we have no, I don't know. Mike doesn't know. I mean, if there was a plug in that line, holy buckets.
buckets wasn't what I was thinking.
Yeah, but that is a future problem, but I mean, we don't know where that line is.
I thought it ran up the fence line.
It does, but it's gotta go all the way across the golf course
Yeah.
first.
Yeah,
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 we don't know where it starts
okay.
or goes under. Don.
Okay, that's right.
And you know how windy Coburn is, right?
Yep,
Not jumping down that rabbit hole.
okay.
Yeah.
That's not a natural stream.
It's just the wrong thing to go in the stream.
All right, so our options are,
Lori has a question.
Yeah, I do. I was just, what's the benefit of not putting it, taking it out of the golf course fund? Is it the benefit that the golf course looks like it's done better? Or
Yeah,
is it just
Yeah.
the manner of appearance on paper?
good point. Yes, yeah.
And if we do it this year, will it be expected to be done next year? Or are we taking that responsibility? We're gonna say, well, we're gonna take care of that now. We're not gonna.
Yeah, so it's a special revenue fund, so you have the liberty of using other funds in order to support it. I look at it in the same way as how we've transferred funds from one entity to another in order to keep it running and support it. It does not matter one way or the other if you do it, through the
And-
golf course or through the general fund. It's just.
isn't this the 6,088.81? Isn't that considerably, am I mistaken, but isn't that lower than?
To be totally honest, when Mike found out what the issue was, he really had no ballpark. He said anywhere from 4 to 6, but it could be higher. That was
thought
the
I
original
remembered a
communication I had.
Thought I remembered a higher number.
Yeah,
But
I mean, it could have gone up to 8. I mean, he didn't know how much the panel was gonna cost, cause all of it was older technology.
Okay, well.
So it's either the golf course pays for it or the city pays for it. Either way, the city's.
Kind of
paying
all
for
on the
it.
same side.
Well,
Yeah.
but it's different,
I get that. I
it's
do.
different funds.
Different
Right.
little piles, yeah.
Yep.
And if there's a benefit, I guess I would pick the way the way it benefits us. Which is, other than it looking better for the golf course, I'm not sure.
So when the board approved the equipment purchase, the auditor said, well, yeah, you could borrow the money from one fund, move it to the other fund. But the other fund is already in a decrease, right? It's already in a negative. So it doesn't make any sense to do it that way when you know that money would just continue to decrease. And that's technically money owed back to other funds, that everything else is covering. So that's why it made more sense from the auditor standpoint to just have general fund reserves pay for that equipment, Lori.
Okay.
And that would be the same recommendation.
And that would be the same recommendation in this case, because this is unforeseen. This is not something that was regular operating.
No, It's not,
right? This is a big,
this was
Mhm.
part of the,
you can look at it in the same respect of us paying Minnesota Pump Works to update the lift stations that we've been paying for with ARPA funds or reserve funds, because the sewer fund has its own reserve fund. So we've been utilizing other reserves to help pay for unforeseen non-operating.
Contingency stuff.
Yes,
okay, well, then I will make a motion to pay the $6,088.81 out of the city's general fund.
reserve.
Fund, excuse me,
I'll second that.
so that we're not. I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on this? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Are we to
Yep,
opioids?
yep. Ironic.
Yes,
Um,
it's making me crave.
The
No.
county opioid steering committee is looking for members. You might remember a year and a half ago, they had one of their first meetings. They're meeting again. They need members if you have interest. That's what your letters tonight on your table were for. And then they're having a meeting on October 21st. This has been like everywhere. At the county boardroom.
Okay.
Any final comments or concerns or anything from tonight?
Good job. You had a lot of reading to do. Speaking.
Yes,
I've
Christina,
exceeded,
I'd like
I've
to say,
exceeded something.
I know I've spent hours conversating with people about this in town. I just want to thank everybody for doing your due diligence and checking into these things and looking things up. Talking to people. Sometimes we have, it's not always fun. And I know I had a lot of anxiety over this evening,
You wouldn't be normal if you didn't.
but thank you all.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Oh, look at that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We stand adjourned
Stop.
at 8:58.
I think we can go another hour.